Welcome to Shares Who, Hampton Roads' top spot for politics. And of course, it is the top spot for politics due to its founders. Andrea Dixon, who created the channel herself, my awesome wife, working for workforce development in the state of Virginia's capital. So look out for that. Also, good friend Ellen over at Ellen's Homestyle and Barbecue Express has great food, and it's served to you at Portsmouth Boulevard and Indian River Road across from Regent University. Mr. Seiko Varner over Positive Vibes Incorporated can help you with a lot of monetary issues. There's also the Hampton Roads Green Book, which he did found this year, helped him be the Entrepreneur of the Year, recognized by Black Brand. Also want to shout out Mr. Farley Perkins at the insurance broking division of Farley Perkins Agency, 757-271-6655, and ELG Suite Boutique here in Portsmouth on High Street. Now, to make this show even more definitive for being a top spot for politics, of course, you got to like this video, comment, share it, and subscribe to this channel as we eclipse and move past 100 subscribers. Okay, Donald Trump is in the process of nominating his cabinet and other executive branch officials. I'd like to highlight his nomination of Tom Homan for border czar. Trump has chosen him to look over the southern border, northern border, mall, maritime, and aviation-based checkpoints for immigration. It's on brand for Trump, and it's a danger for America. Here's how. The branding of the Trump 24 election begins with ultranationalism. And overtly stated within this ultranationalism is a policy of mass deportation. Frequent usages of 10 to 20 million people on the deportation block were cited over the whole election. The policy is a step up of what we saw in 2017 when Trump's first term began a hawkish stance on immigration. Trump enacted 472 administrative changes that dismantled and reconstructed many elements of the U.S. immigration system. Humanitarian protections were severely diminished. The U.S.-Mexico border became more closed off. Immigration enforcement appeared more random, and legal immigration became out of reach for many. All of this was accomplished nearly exclusively by the executive branch with sweeping presidential proclamations and executive orders. Departmental policy guidance and hundreds of small technical adjustments were included as well. Deportation was a part of the first term, but it was not so central that it was held up by Republicans at the National Convention with large signs. It is now. Much like a prominent Central European government in the 1930s, massive tyrannical forced movement of other human beings is at hand beginning this January. Selecting Tom Homan is key to this, much like Theodor Eicke was key in the 1930s. Eicke's 1930s leadership is in developing the general concentration camp system for said European government became the model for other camps built later on. Homan was the first prominent director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, for Trump in 2017. When there, his position was that undocumented immigrants should be afraid. He literally said afraid. He put forth a zero-tolerance policy on immigration, which led to the prosecution of parents and the separation of children from their families. After defending his separation policy in 2018 and leaving the position, he was slated for a keynote speaker position at America First Political Action Conference. This underlined a stance he believes 15+ million people aren't Americans, and removing them is an example of putting America first. Again, ultranationalism is here, and it's hurtful because he wants to rid this country of millions of certain people. Homan also joined the Heritage Foundation in 2022. He was a figure that was a part of the development of Project 2025, which proposes mass arrests, detentions, and deportations of undocumented immigrants across the nation. Remember, Trump actively tried to distance himself from Project 2025 in the election. But now that he's won, he no longer has to hide. Homan is a prime example of embracing Project 2025. At a July 2024 National Conservatism Conference meeting, Homan said, "If Trump comes back in January, I'll be on his heels coming back, and I will run the biggest deportation force the country has ever seen. They ain't seen shit yet. Wait until 2025. Imagine the notion of deporting someone. They're not a citizen. They're picked up, sorted to which nation they hailed from, and then the government sends them to that nation. The Homan policy is not exclusive to that. It expands on it. When asked by 60 Minutes how he would avoid separating families, he replied he would deport children as well, even if the children were citizens. That Tom Homan is back as the borders are for 2025, and he insisted that, yes, 15.5 million people would be deported, is concerning. He has a history of being aggressive. He was picked because he was aggressive. Trump's ultranationalism is about to be aggressive on this country, so be ready.